Today there are over 35,000 different chemicals that are used in our workplaces. Another 200 chemicals are introduced into Australia each year. It is therefore more than likely that some of these are present in your workplace. Chemicals include, but are not limited to, industrial chemicals such as solvents, cleaners or degreasers, paints, pesticides, drugs and even cosmetics. Chemicals can come in different forms such as solids, for example metals, plastics or granules, dusts, for example wood, coal, metals or fibres, liquids, for example acids, alkalis or solvents, gases. Some have an odour or a colour which makes them easy to detect. Others have none. And vapours. These are the gases from substances normally in the solid or liquid state. For example, steam, aerosols, or very fine liquid or solid particles dispersed into the air. There is clear evidence that exposure to chemicals at work may affect your health. Chemicals can enter your body in 4 major ways. Inhalation through your nose and or mouth. Absorption through the skin. Ingestion through the mouth. Injection, a chemical under high pressure or from a sharp object that pierces the skin. Once in your body, the effects can be acute or immediate. This exposure usually results in immediate symptoms which can range from irritation to death. Exposures resulting in these effects are often the result of accidents where the substance is rapidly absorbed into the body. Chronic. This exposure is characterized by symptoms of disease that may develop slowly. These effects are related to continued exposure to toxic substances that either accumulate in the body gradually causing damage or cause irreversible health damage at each exposure. It is therefore important that you know what the risks are when you use or are exposed to chemicals. The risk of exposure depends on the following factors. Toxicity, that is, how poisonous the product is. Dose, how much of the chemical actually enters your body. And frequency, how often you are exposed. Before using any chemical, you should always read the label. This will give you basic directions for safe use, the correct amount to use, the appropriate personal equipment to use, clean-up directions, and basic first aid directions. It will also indicate whether the chemical is a dangerous good. Look for the coloured diamond. The safety instructions on the label should be followed at all times, but also remember that this is only some of the information you need. For detailed information on any chemical, you need to read the Material Safety Data Sheet, or MSDS. The MSDS will provide you with detailed information on the properties and uses of the substance, health hazard information, precautions for use, safe handling requirements, first aid and emergency information, correct storage and disposal requirements. It will also tell you whether the chemical is classified as a hazardous substance. Your employer can obtain the MSDS from their product suppliers, and the Material Safety Data Sheet should be available for your information prior to and when using any product. Apart from following the safe work procedures, it is also important that you have available to you and are trained in the correct use of any personal protective equipment required to be worn when using the chemical. PPE is the clothing and equipment that can be used to provide a barrier to chemicals. The correct selection of PPE is indicated on the MSDS and the product label. If a chemical is classified as a hazardous substance, then your employer is required to carry out a risk assessment on the chemical. At the end of this video, we suggest you find out the following: all the chemicals that are used in your work area, where the material safety data sheets for the chemicals are kept, if risk assessments have been completed on the chemicals, the safe work procedures for using each of the chemicals in your work area, the first aid facilities available, any special storage and handling procedure.